Alright, YouTube folks, feel free to skip ahead about a minute. I'm going to give people a minute to get into the chat, and then I'll go into my deck tech. I'm playing something a little bit different today. Like, obviously, it's still D&T, but I'm messing around with some of the flex slots a little bit. So I'm going to give people a minute to get into the chat here so I don't repeat myself a bunch. And good morning to those of you who are already here. Actually, while we're waiting, I'm going to try to pull up something that I saw that I'm absolutely terrified of. So this deck list was posted to the Discord last night, and it apparently went like 10-0 in the Legacy Challenge, beating D&T a whole bunch of times. Let's see, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, beating D&T 4 times. This Eldrazi post list is kind of terrifying, right? Main deck Spyglass, so Port and Waste don't do as much against it. It has Thought Knot, 4 Endbringers, 4 Ballistas, 3 Oblivion Sowers. This feels like one of the better Eldrazi post lists that I've ever seen. This list is like super, super scary. And a lot of people that I hear like that are playing against this or something similar to this are just asking like, how do I ever beat this deck? And there's a lot of really good synergy here that's not like super obvious. So you get to like Oblivion Sower for their lands, and if you hit fetch lands, they still produce mana because of Urborg. Decklist feels really smooth. I will probably stream with this some point just so that I can learn more about the deck, because like, boy, is it scary. Yeah, I mean, Ballista pounds on D&T, and this version only needs to ramp to the new Ulamog. It doesn't need to go up to like Emrakul or anything like that. So like, it's more reasonable, it's more solid, and a lot of times like if you just stop at 6 mana, that's fine, because then you've got like Ballista at 3, you've got Sower, you've got Endbringers. It just feels really good. And you have the Matter Reshapers and Thought Knot Seers to help kind of like, I don't quite want to say curve out, because you're not really curving out, but it gives you a bridge to the mid to late game where your deck shines. So it's very interesting. Yes, you do see Spirit of the Labyrinth. We'll talk about that. Yeah, so the new commanders were spoiled today. 1 to 2 of them may have Fringe Legacy application, but I'm not overly excited about any of them. I would really need to see some of those things in action to believe that they're actually good. Morning, Min. Yeah, I'm not sure if Red Prison is gone or not. That's been a question I've been asking myself for a very long time. I haven't played any Red Prison post-banning. I really need to, like, message Zach and just, like, ask for a deck list and then try his deck list out and see how it's going. Like, there's plenty of greedy mana bases out there right now. I mean, obviously less greedy than before because Deathrite Shaman was stapling them together. But I feel like there's too much, like, D&T, Stoneblade, and Miracles right now for Red Prison to be good. But, again, if things like this Eldrazi deck start picking up, then, well, maybe it's fine. Yeah, so basic planes. I know everyone looks at that new Planeswalker and thinks, "Oh man, Esper Miracles! It's time. It's finally happening." But like, I don't know. Like, is that card really better than like the Pyroblast and Red Blast out of the sideboard to deal with like opposing Jaces and Teferis? I think the answer is no. Pretty sure the answer is no. Yeah, that I'm very skeptical as well, man. Like, of the cards I want to splash for, I want them to be like hyper impactful things, like Pyroblasts, Red Blasts, Blood Moons, you know, even something like Is It Staticaster, where when it hits the board, it just takes over a matchup. And I just don't see that 3-mana Planeswalker taking over a matchup. Like, you already have like Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, Predicts, Jace to mess with the top of your library. I just don't know that you're getting enough value out of that card. It's also going to be really hard to play on turn 3, because, like, assuming you're fetching basics, then you would need your three fetches to be able to get 3 different basics. So it might not even be something you can cast on turn 3 if you're playing it. And Master, thank you very much for resubbing. 5 months is a long time, and I appreciate your continued support. Okay, so let's talk about what I'm doing today. Legacy is kind of in flux right now, and so I think it is a good time to experiment and try new things. So here's what I streamed with last time around, and let's just kind of make some quick comparisons. In my last build, I was running 24 lands, 2 Remorseful Clerics, 2 Brightlings, 1 Crusader, sideboard's relatively stock. Let's look at what I'm trying today. So I 100% want... Yeah, man, that's what I was just talking about. I'm terrified of the big idiot Eldrazi deck. So I 100% want 1 or 2 Remorseful Clerics in the main deck. I think everyone right now is playing enough Graveyard Hate in order to keep like the Reanimator and Dredge decks in check. I think I'm comfortable going down to 1 of those after kind of like playing around with 2 in the main deck. I do not mind 2 in the main deck at all. I really like Remorseful Cleric as a card. It's aggressive, it trades with Delver, it's random Graveyard Hate. I got a huge blowout against Miracles last night where like I had a Cleric equipped with Sword of Fire and Ice, and I had a Vial on 2 and a second Cleric. And I swing in, my opponent casts Snapcaster Mage, target swords, and I rip it out of the graveyard with the second Cleric. And I won that game handily. So if I go down to 1 of these, that opens up another slot, and I want another 2-drop in the deck. I don't want the curve to be too high up here, especially with me playing Brightling. So I'm trying Spirit of the Labyrinth again. Without Deathrite Shaman and Young... Sorry, let me rephrase that. With Deathrite Shaman not being in the format, and Young Pyromancer being a noticeably worse card than it was before, Spirit of the Labyrinth is a much stronger main deck and sideboard option than it has been in the past year and a half or so. So I'm trying it again. I've really liked the fact that it trades with Nimble Mongoose. That matters a lot. It doesn't have evasion, but against the combo decks that are floating around, it's very aggressive and very disruptive. So I don't hate having it. I've also gotten a ton of blowouts with it off of Vial, because the format has slowed down a little bit to the point where that's more feasible. I've cut back to 23 lands. Some of the feedback I've gotten from people who have been testing my builds or playing similar builds has been that the 24th land maybe doesn't matter all that much, and we should just stick to 23 in order to hedge against flooding a tiny bit. I think the 23 versus 24 lands is very marginal, and I think either's fine. I want to explain why I cut to 23. I'm not cutting to 23 because I'm fearing flooding. I'm cutting to 23 because I wanted to fit another Mirran Crusader in the deck, and I couldn't figure out how to do it otherwise. Against Rug right now, I think it's pretty important to have Mirran Crusader to help stabilize the early game, because Brightling just takes over and absolutely wins the matchup if you make it to a decent amount of mana. And it's pretty easy to just lose to your opponent going Mongoose 1, Tarmogoyf 2, Cantrip, Waste You, Cantrip, oh, I'm crashing in for a lot now, or something like that. So I wanted one more Crusader in the deck, but I was not willing to cut any of the other cards I'm playing, and that's just kind of what I had to do in order to get there. Oh, and Julian, thank you thank you very much for auto hosting. The sideboard is currently in flux. I'm trying some things. I'm not necessarily sure that what I'm trying is correct, but I'm trying things. Let's start with the obvious. I'm trying Oblivion Ring. Show and Tell is not a great matchup, so I've changed my deck list to make it a good matchup by running like the Spirit of the Labyrinths, multiple Sanctum Prelates, and things of that nature. So the Oblivion Ring just gives me an answer to Omniscience off of Show and Tell more or less permanently, and I quite like that. It is noticeably worse against the Mirror, where like it can get Flickerwisp away, and some like Stoneblades and Miracles decks can have ways to answer this. In most other places, it's been about the same. Like, there's not as much Abrupt Decay running around as there was before, so I'm less worried about that. I have not gotten punished for playing Oblivion Ring in the first 3 leagues that I've played with this deck list. Or, I shouldn't say this deck list, with similar deck lists. But I'm sure it will happen. And what I'm going to have to determine is, like, is this risk-reward ratio worth it for where the metagame is going? And I don't know the answer to that yet. Otherwise, I've decided to cut Canonist from the sideboard. I think Spirit of Labyrinth is probably a better generic hate bear right now, and I don't mind having a second Prelate for Miracles. Otherwise, most of this stuff is stock. Well, the Brightling in the sideboard isn't necessarily stock, but I've been playing it. So, there are a couple of things on my mind with this deck list still. Number 1, if that Eldrazi deck picks up in popularity, I probably need Cataclysm back in the deck. And if I have to put Cataclysm back in the deck, I'm probably going to want to make some other changes here. That's one of the big things I'm thinking about. Let's see. Number 2. How popular Stoneblade becomes also influences how good Oblivion Ring actually is. So, I'm not sure if Stoneblade is actually popular online. I've played almost no Stoneblade online. Like, I think I've played against it once as D&T. Yeah, so I think I've played 48 matches with D&T, and I've played against it once, which is not something that I expected. And if Stoneblade is actually popular, not just on paper, then these O-rings probably need to become Council's Judgments, or I need to do like a split so that I can have another answer to True Name. Yeah, I'm not sure if Stoneblade is really everywhere in the open, or if there are a couple of players doing well with Stoneblade. Like, Fabiano did well with Stoneblade 2 weeks in a row, right? So, like, he accounts for 2 of those, and he probably would have done well no matter what he was playing. So, I don't know, like, how good is that deck actually? Is a bunch of Miracles online, like, keeping Stoneblade out? What's going on there? Yeah, Fabiano's was, like, the blue-white-red one with days, right? Like blue, white, red with days. Alright. Well, if it's odd, let me pull it up. That was the team open, I believe. I mean, I don't think it's odd to call this Stoneblade. Like, it has Stoneforge Mystic, Snapcasters, Clicks, Jace, all the usual stuff. Like, there are some odd things about this list. Like, the dazes in particular are odd, and the Terminus in the sideboard's pretty weird. But otherwise, you know, this is pretty Stonebladey to me. Oh, yeah, the list is certainly not stock. Yeah, Creature, Turbo Depths is a real good matchup for me. I'm fine with being a little softer to Storm and Infect. Those decks aren't terribly popular right now, in my experience. Like, I just kind of attack them from different angles, right? Like, Spirit still attacks both, Cleric still attacks Storm, but in a different way, and then I've got a couple of Prelates in the sideboard to help kind of pound things out. I'm not too worried. Like, the real questions with this deck list are, can I actually run O-Ring over Council's Judgment, and do I need Cataclysm here because of the emergence of this Eldrazi Post deck? Those are the two big questions that I have. Is there... Oh, at Master, is there a new Legacy Premier League trailer, or is this just the one from before? Where I'm wearing, like, the ridiculous headband? Oh, man. So, just quick story. Solnox is currently playing the best deck in Legacy. Not close. He was playing this, like, really sweet Orcish Lumberjack Natural Order Loam Lands deck. It was awesome. So I got absolutely destroyed last night. He had a triple Mox Diamond opener, and I played Phyrexian Revoker to revoke them. Then he fetched a Dryad Arbor, which I swordsed to try and, like, ambush Viper me. And then, in the chat, he types, "Want to see something cool?" And he fetches up a second Dryad Arbor and gets me and unlocks all his stuff. He then got, like, Titania in play and started using Dark Depths combo. So, like, every time he would do that, he would create a 20/20, and then 2 lands would leave the battlefield, so he'd get 2, like, of those 5/3 elementals, and it was just, like, powerless to stop it. It was beautiful. It was so great. Get everything set up over here. Well, my hand looks great. I'll keep. Yeah, Surf and Bird is a Storm Grinder. I'm on the play with Thalia. I literally cannot ask for anything more. Morning, JD. We are just getting started here. This is match 1. Not a Thoughtseize. We probably win game 1. Let's not even talk about 42 AD. I keep losing to all sorts of random bullshit out of their deck list. I don't remember it was last time, but I was pretty tilted. Oh, it was like, I think it was like Sulfur Elementals and like Tombstalkers or Gurmag Anglers or something like that. It was absurd. Alright, that Ponder was a shuffle. Potentio, you missed the deck tech, but you can take a look at everything below the stream. The deck list is there. Extirpated your preordains. I don't understand. Yes, I believe this is what you call winning. Alright, so probably go surgical in, this stuff in, this in, these in, War and Peace of consideration, but probably not. Swords of the Plowshares out. Well, sorry, I've changed my sideboard recently, as in last night, so I'm not used to every little thing that I can do with this sideboard and all my in-out numbers yet. Yeah, I'd play Spirit of Labyrinth versus Rogue Delver. Like, it's bad against Tarmogoyf, but great against cantrips and Mongoose, and I think that's good overall. Like, Spirit is not a good card versus Tarmogoyf, and, like, it's actively annoying, but, like, given that I have, like, Crusaders, Brightlings, 6 1-drop removal spells, I think it's all fine. I think I like this board consideration. There's some consideration to like not board War and Peace and to keep Fire and Ice instead to play around Echoing Truth. But War and Peace is a house in terms of damage, and the life gain is not irrelevant either. This hand's pretty awkward. I can't play any turn 2 disruption as stands, so this really needs to be a mulligan. This is not stellar either. This is the best hand so far by a lot. I think a lot of people overboard versus Rug Delver, truth be told. Like, our Game 1 deck is so good against them that you don't need to, like, mess around with it too much and clunk things up. Like, I think when you're playing Council's Judgment, you should probably just leave Council's Judgment in the sideboard. Like, that it's just, like, so bad against Daze, and for some reason, Rug Delver players are leaving in Spell Pierce for post-sideboard games versus me, which I don't understand. The Rug Delver decks also aren't playing as many true names as you might expect them to. Yeah, I don't really know how Rug is supposed to board. All the options are bad. Yeah, like, Daze and Force aren't particularly good. Is this going to be like a risky turn 1 ad nauseum or something? Oh, is this just going to be empty? If it's just empty, I will beat this if I draw a Stoneforge Mystic. Or wait. No, it's going to be 12 Goblins because Storm Count's currently 5. I will not beat that if I draw a Stoneforge Mystic. 10 Goblins on the play is sufficient. I'm doing well. So I know that I'm dead, but I'm going to, like, pretend that I'm drawing to something. Just so my opponent doesn't know that I have, like, no outs to this. Like, I could be drawing towards a Ratchet Bomb, say. Now I'll concede. Alright. So that's a loss. Game 2 lost. Turn 1, 12 Goblins. My opponent's going to aggressively go for empty. Maybe I want one more Stoneforge. The empty plan is noticeably worse on the draw. Oh, white faces. I like that. I like that. That's good. This is good enough to keep. This is not a stellar hand, because the pieces that I have are soft hate pieces. Like Rip and Revoker both only attack from one angle. We're just getting started. This is the first match. So my opponent here is going to take whichever one of these harms them more. But like the reason I kept this is because given one piece of disruption, I still have a second as backup. Oh, that's stellar. Sick rips. Skill game. So now I need to fear something like Dread of Night. Please don't be Dread of Night. Please don't be Dread of Night. Alright, not Dread of Night. And notice here that I value disruption over additional pressure. If my Thalia somehow got answered with a Massacre or a Dread of Night or something like that, I still want to have something hateful in play, and that's what that rest of piece is doing. We are playing against Ant currently. This game is looking good, but that doesn't really mean anything. I wish I had the second white source so that I could like get Prelate, Recruiter for Prelate, put that on like 2 and just like 100% end things. But I don't. I could get like Spirit of the Labyrinth. Or I could get a Revoker or a Relic-Warder. But I think I'm going to wait on the Recruiter. Like, this is happening. The thing is about the Stoneforge is it's not really that great of a play unless I also draw another land, because I'd really like to just port them. It's very possible that I just like port until I get another land, and then when I get another land, I play Stoneforge Mystic. Because like a 6-turn clock with Thalia is not the best, but is acceptable. And if I just like port them, if they want a cantrip, it would mean like using their petal or having another land. I think I just want to port. And I think I want to keep them off of like Ponders and Preordains. Thoughtseize is fine, because I can trade the Wasteland for this Underground Sea. It'll be interesting what my opponent takes. If my opponent takes the Stoneforge Mystic, it's the card that would be harder for me to cast. Or, sorry, would be easier for me to cast. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about this. Man, Revoker would be a ball and draw. My opponent is probably past the initial mana bottleneck. The bottleneck for my opponent is probably now on resources. Like, they can't ad nauseum to get out of this. And Infernal Tutor Chaining isn't going to be that great. Like, I can deny my opponent 1 mana, but it's probably better to just, like, play my Brightling here and just put my opponent on a 1-turn clock. That is likely better. Don't really know what my opponent can get here. Okay, that's fine. Oh, so close, so close. So I got a couple of options here. I can pump and give lifelink. Oh no, I guess I can't really pump, right? Like Dread of Night, good. Dreadlight's like super awkward with Brightling. But it's still alive, so I guess that's something. So I can just attack for 2 with Brightling. Play Recruiter. Get the cat. Play the cat next turn and pump and have lethal. So, read Brightling, guys. It gets +1, -1. So if I give it +1, -1, it turns into a 3/1 and then it dies. I can't pump once. Oh, sorry. I see. Herp. Yeah, this is already taking effect. Derp. Okay. Got it. So I can go pump once, lifelink, hold up, bounce, go up to 23. It's pretty unlikely that they could actually kill me from there. If I don't make a mistake, it's not a punt. Alright, so game 3, beat a Dread of Night with Brightling. Yeah, for anyone giving me crap, when you stream and you're bouncing back and forth between like chat and games, it's very easy to lose track of something that seems super simple. Indeed, who needs Canonist? The list is below the stream, Sriracha. Oh. Oh yeah, we can never have enough legacy content. Min's a liar. Min loves me. I don't know where exactly my hand needs to be to get it on camera, but I assume it's around here somewhere. I want to keep this. I think my opponent plays Loam. This isn't like an amazing hand against Loam. That's a great draw. Yeah, I just like playing against elves quite a bit. Chalice on 1. That is not going to do a lot, friend. What do I want to do on my turn? I can just play out the Cleric now. I kind of want to sandbag that as a surprise. But the Spirit's not really doing a ton if I play that, unless my opponent plays a Sylvan Library. Alternatively, I can just play 2 Mother of Runes this turn. That'd be good, right? I think I want to save the Cleric as a surprise. That was a joke. Tricky. Goodbye, Spirit. I knew thee well. Fuck! Fuck! It was a trap! It was a trap! Well played, opponent. Well played, opponent. I don't know, but it happens every game. Every single game, they somehow manage to, like, find the library. I don't know how. Hmm. So I can revoke that knight. That's pretty good. I can get cute with Cleric and try to get rid of Knight right now. Like, I can use Port, tap Wasteland. And then I can safely attack in with both Thalia and Cleric. If my opponent blocks with the Knight, I do first strike damage, then sack the Cleric to take the lands out of their graveyard and kill the Knight. So the real question is, like, what BS land does my opponent have that will beat me? Because a Maze of Ith would be incredibly bad for me, because, like, then the Cleric stops getting through. If I take out the Knight at the cost of the Cleric, that's not amazing either. No, I'm mostly afraid of Maze of Ith. Like, if my opponent has a Maze of Ith, it's not good for me. Oh, I guess Karakas is also pretty devastating. I can also just, like, revoke the Knight and deal with it in that way and just keep attacking with Remorseful Cleric. Annoyingly, I can't really attack with the Thalia and then try to Remorseful Cleric because my opponent has Wasteland up and they can Wasteland either me or themselves in order to grow Knight. Or does that not work? Let's see. So if I attack with Thalia and they block, I can put first strike damage on it, then exile the graveyard, and then afterwards I can Wasteland me. Yeah, that's not going to work. I'm very aware of Cabal Pit. Let's see if my opponent knows how to use Sylvan Library and Bob together. Because they should never really take damage from that. But whether or not they did that correctly is an entirely different question. So my opponent has 5 cards in there. How aggressive do I want to get? I need to worry about this Cabal Pit. So my opponent's on 5 cards in graveyard. I think I'm still just going to peck this turn. Alright, my opponent did set their cards up correctly. Alright, if my opponent plays like a fetch land, they can then Cabal Pit, and I can't do anything about it, but I don't think I'm willing to sacrifice the Cleric yet. Yep. This isn't just at sorcery speed or anything, is it? No. I suspect I'm about to lose this game. I suspect my opponent is going to, like, Cabal Pit this, Punishing Fire one of my cards, search up, like, a Grove with Knight, or, like, Maze of Ith with Knight, and I'm in trouble. So this is probably Maze of Ith. Yep. So with both Crusader and Cleric, I do have respectable attackers. I can still push 2 damage a turn through the maze. And drawing a Wasteland or a Port would be probably game over. Alright, you have some big boys. Jazzy, the third is probably not necessary for the sideboard now. I've liked it, though. Well, I'd be fine with not going slow and steady and just, like, being able to kill my opponent. I'd be A-okay with that, but I think it's just, like, way too risky to get any more aggressive than I currently am being. Like, I haven't seen a Punishing Fire from my opponent this game. It's very likely they have one in hand. I think this is my opponent not paying for Green Sun correctly. Okay. Draws have been stellar. This is not a good sign if this is happening. This probably means that there's a second Punishing Fire in hand. I need to use my Cleric right now to get this Punishing Fire out. Otherwise, my opponent can return it with Grove, I think. And if my opponent has a second removal spell of any nature and they point at this Cleric, and I try to remove it in response afterwards, then I'm just going to die. This is a tricky spot. If I let my opponent untap, they can also eat their Dryad Arbor. That's not the best for me. If they don't have a removal spell in their hand or top 3 cards, really top 4 cards, then me sitting and waiting is fine. This feels so bad. Ooh, the top card with Bob is blind. Okay, yeah, that's what I was about to say. So it's probably necessary to eat right now. Yeah, a Port, a Wasteland, or a Flickerwisp is still going to leave me with lethal. Okay, they have a Decay. Decay gets my mom. But they can't cast... Oh, no, they can probably cast Decay currently with Night. Punishing Fire would be a real beating. Sorry, it would have to be Punishing Fire plus land. Because I could get the Crusader right here. Bounce Thalia, Punishing Fire, Crusader. And then the mom is not super relevant. Alright. So all I need to do is answer the maze and I win. Alright, Recruiter of the Guard gets a Flickerwisp. Is there anything that can get me there this turn? No, 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 no. Gets me there next turn. So now I need my opponent to not have Punishing Fire for Crusader. JD, I'm probably not streaming tonight. It's not out of the question. I'm certainly playing more Magic tonight. I'm testing a lot of things off stream. Oh yeah, 100%. I will be in Richmond for the GP. Like, that's in my backyard. I wouldn't miss that for the world. Yeah, I love the Legacy GPs. Like, A, they're so much fun and it's so much Legacy. B, you get to meet a lot of the people that come out of the woodwork for the big events. Okay, what does this attack mean? Does this attack mean my opponent is just trying to put another body into the graveyard to gain more life with Scavenging Ooze? Because I think that's what it means. Because my opponent can currently gain 1. I'm just going to keep all my dudes alive and block the ooze here. It might have been a Liliana thing, too. Like, just trying to get me to, like, chump block, lose a creature so they could get the Crusader off the board. Yeah! I'll discard a Mother of Runes that I can't cast. I have to discard a creature, I don't have any choice. I'm gonna be so pissed after all of this my opponent has Punishing Fire. Yeah, that is one of the longer game ones I've played in a long time. I mean, I've had game ones of this particular matchup go almost 2 time. It happens. So game 1 is a grind fest, and Crusader carries. Actually, I need to give the Remorseful Cleric its dues there. Because that kept me from just, like, dying to Punishing Fire combo and Giant Knights. Yeah, Maze is only a 1-up, luckily. Alright, so let's figure out what I don't want. I don't want Thalias. They're really bad against an opposing Karakas. I don't want Spirit of Labyrinth, because If I have it, my opponent just won't draw their one of library that they always draw. So that needs to go. Brightling's kind of medium here. Like, a Crusader is better in some ways in this matchup. Like, the Brightlings are still fine. They're really annoying, especially if they get paired with equipment. Maybe I don't want the third. My opponent is probably going to have Golgari Charm and Abrupt Decay. So, like, here's a place where, like, O-Ring over Council's Judgment is rough. I probably won't even board them in for that reason. Opponent has one forest, probably. So I could probably run paths over swords with minimal downside. And this is probably about right. It's really awkward that I don't have Council's Judgment here. It matters a lot for the stupid planeswalkers that my opponent might play. This is a fine opening hand. I'm very happy with this opener. It's not particularly aggressive, but like Rest in Peace is stellar in this matchup, as is Prelate. Or at least people tell me so. I'm not 100% convinced myself, but it's probably fine. Is it me? Am I the one who's back on D&T? Because I never left. I play other things, but like D&T is always going to be my primary deck. The deck's great. I'm very good at it. I have a lot of practice, which the experience factor is not to be underestimated in Legacy. I would love to have something to play other than Rest in Peace this turn. Yeah, Prelate on 2. Yeah, I mean, the Red Prison phase was specifically to meet one of my self-goals. But I was going to write a bunch more articles on Red Prison, and then all of a sudden the metagame, like, shifted an insane amount, and it didn't really make sense to write articles on a deck that wasn't great. I mean, I have 2 different answers to Punishing Fire in hand. I'm not all that worried about it. So I can rip and Vial here, or I can rip and Wasteland here. Kind of like rip and Vial and then double Wasteland on the next turn. A Golgari Charm on my Rest in Peace here would be pretty annoying. Or an Abrupt Decay on it. Don't really care about that. How aggressive do I want to get? I can just play out the Prelate, and then my opponent can't do the whole Punishing Fire thing. Or I can just, like, wait another turn, Wasteland them off the Grove, but that'd be really bad if they drew a Loam. So I think it's time to just stick this. I'll regret it a little bit if my opponent has Lily. I'm more scared of something like Deluge or Lily than I am of my opponent keeping the Grove around for Punishing Fire combo. Speak of the devil. I will be very aggressively porting my opponent off of black mana if I am able. Hey, Goblin Lackey, welcome. Yeah, I tried to play around that. Next week is my week. So I believe that is August 1st. So now I have the Punishing Fire problem. My best bet there is probably just to wait till I draw another threat, play that threat, and hold up Flickerwisp to protect it. Never mind, I'm going to be busy killing this Lily this turn. I'm probably going to win this one by timeout. Actually, no, I care more about them just playing a knight. Don't have a knight. Oop, I forgot about that. That's on me. I'm playing quickly, just trying to F6. Yeah, if you want to watch the video once it's up later, that's all there. Sure. Oh boy, it'd be stellar if I didn't throw away that bomb. Opponent has a bunch of cards, but I guess they're all reactive things that aren't really doing stuff right now. Alright, opponent's had enough. They've figured out that they're going to time out before they can actually win this one. Alright, so game 2, win via... really just via rest in peace. Like, the first one didn't really do much, the second one was game ending. I would not recommend doing something like that, basic planes. That would, depending on how that goes, I could see in something like that resulting in you getting, like, some unsportsmanlike conduct thing going on. I would not recommend that. Alright, so I know a lot of you came in later than the initial deck tech. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the deck list up here for a minute so you can take a look at it. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I'm going to use the restroom and fill up my water bottle, and then we'll go into the next round. I don't think another Relic-Warder is actually something that's actively good. I know a couple of people have talked about that, but Relic-Warder is the sort of bullet you want to search for. It's often not a card that you actually want to draw, and it's very, very poor to draw in the early game in most cases. Spirit of the Labyrinth has been a generically good card. It's much better now that there's less Deathrite Shaman and Young Pyromancer in the format clogging up the board. Yes, Brightling is insane. It is a mistake to not be playing that card. I do not think it is a question, and I have no idea how people are coming up with negative opinions of Brightling if they are actually testing that card. Like, I literally do not understand. Like, I've played a lot of matches. Brightling has done some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen this deck capable of doing. Let me give you an example. I had a great screenshot from last night. So you can kind of see the tail end of it in the chat here. I had a pair of Brightlings. I gave them both pro-white, and I attacked for 17 with 2 Brightlings, forcing my opponent to Swords to Plowshares one of their own creatures to stay alive. That was pretty disgusting. That's just like the sort of thing that it can do, and it's against like tier 2 and 3 decks. It's like constantly finding cool things to do. Like against like the post and mud type decks, it's good at invalidating Wormcoil Engine, and against Dredge you can shrink it to kill Bridge from Belows. The Vigilance is probably the least used mode, but like once it has a piece of equipment on it that's not Batterskull, because that gives it Vigilance, that mode is pretty disgusting. So, like, Brightling doesn't just like straight up replace like Mirran Crusader, because like Mirran Crusader has its own important role, but like Brightling is good against aggro, combo, and control. That's everything, basically. I'm very happy to have this card in my deck. Yeah, no problem. One sec. It's in the D&T Discord. There you go. I'm trying out Oblivion Ring to hedge against Show and Tell. I have not gotten punished for switching to Oblivion Ring yet. Like, as in, I've gotten my Oblivion Ring destroyed and they've gotten their thing back. Although, as we saw in that matchup there, I didn't have Council's Judgment to board in because I didn't think boarding in Oblivion Ring would be good. No, actually, like, having a bunch of Brightlings in the deck makes True Name not actually all that scary. You can realistically race True Name with the list that I've got going on here. Oblivion Ring still hits the Planeswalkers. But, like, that being said, if Stoneblade ends up being more popular than Show and Tell, then I 100% switch off of the O-Rings and I go to Council's Judgment. The O-Rings are experimental. I'm not convinced they're good. It might be better to like go and like play 1-1 or maybe no O-Rings. I don't know. Like you play different things to learn and see how they work out. This is me testing. we'll see how it goes. So good afternoon or good morning, everyone, wherever you are. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today we're streaming with Brightling D&T. I hope you're enjoying it. On Wednesday, make sure you turn in to the Legacy Premier League. My week isn't this week. My week will be August 1st, but the content is amazing. Noah Walker, in particular, decimated some people last week, and it was some of the coolest Legacy I've ever seen. And I watch a decent amount of Legacy. So I hope you'll enjoy those. And if you're liking what I'm doing, consider following to see me play more Magic. I accept what happens to me if I don't resolve this vial. I resolved the vial. Everything's fine. Can I spike a land to slam Spirit? No, I cannot. That's fine. So, for anyone not familiar with, like, playing D&T, it's fine to keep risky vial openers in many cases, because vial is the most powerful card in your deck, almost by an order of magnitude. Come on. Cantrip for me, baby. Cantrip for me. I mean, there are still one-land vial hands that I won't keep. I don't think I want to play, like, Recruiter into Thalia here out of fear of Terminus. So I'm just going to, like, hold up and have flexibility. Okay. Well, it also plays around Thalia, too, so don't go too crazy, chat. I have a bunch of different lines I can take this turn. They're all pretty good. I think I want to get a Mom. I've got a bunch of things to do with my Vial, but not a lot of things to do with my mana. Would I trade my Spirit of Labyrinth for Stoneforge if my opponent blocked? No, I don't really want to do that. I'm just going to play a Mom. Ah. Actual factual counterspell. Sure. Actually, maybe I would trade this Spirit for the Stoneforge. And my opponent couldn't put the Batterskull in. And if my opponent trades this, I just, like, Recruiter for a Flickerwisp. Yeah. I would make that trade. EE on 1, you say? Am I willing to just save my Vial? Yeah, I am. That wasn't really what I wanted to be doing with my Flickerwisp. But it does provide a long-term source of mana I'm going to need with these Brightlings. Like, really no reason to do that right now. Now you're just telling me I'm free to cast things on my turn. So I can Source the Plowshares the Germ, and then bash in for 7, but my opponent could equip the Stoneforge with the Batterskull afterwards. Yeah, so I think I'll just attack for 3 and then hold back the team. And if my opponent goes for like a Jitte equip, then I'll Swords. Otherwise, I'll Swords end of my opponent's turn. Static Grip, thank you very much for resubbing. I appreciate your continued support, and good morning, DNT24. It's a little hard to tell where exactly things are at currently. Yeah, this is fine. Like, this counterspell being used on this as opposed to, like, one of my other cards that actually matter, I am on board with this. Yeah, like, having this Mother Runes is going to be so much more important than, like, them having a Batterskull Germ. Yeah, we've only played a couple of matches, but the matches went very long. We had a real grindy one versus Aggro Loam in the last round. That both of us almost went to full time. Ooh, okay. Ooh, Flickerwisp is pretty good. What does that do? So I can Flickerwisp my Recruiter and get like a Stoneforge or another Flickerwisp. Or I can just like attack them. I can also just like Flickerwisp Recruiter, get Crusader to wall the Batterskull Germ thing. But like the Brightling is already going to do that. The big question is mostly like, what do I want to do about the Gideon? Because like I either need to attack it or ignore it. Like I can hit my opponent for 12, and then go like Flickerwisp, try to kill them in 2 turns. But that might require me to like tap the Mom and expose my stuff. My opponent's probably pretty low on resources, if I were to guess. Like, I'm guessing what's left in their hand is probably cantrips. Kind of like ignoring Gideon. And just trying to close the game in 2 turns with my flyers. So, like, the real question is, like, do I just flicker with the Gideon now, or do I, like, flicker with my Recruiter, and then I can just, like, flicker with the Gideon later, and they just, like, either animate or make another 2/2 or get an emblem or something? Kind of a weird spot. I'm just going to pass. Like, this gives me the greatest degree of flexibility in what I do. Okay. Convected E, thank you very much for resubbing. I appreciate your continued support. And Static Grip, that's a decent plan. I like it. It's a little rough if my opponent has like a Supreme Verdict, but I think I'm fine with that. Yeah, I could block with Recruiter and flicker it. But if I do so, the Germ's still there, right? This would require them to commit a bunch of mana for the re-equip. Alright, so can I ignore both of those Planeswalkers for a turn? That's the question. I think so. The unsummon mode is slightly annoying. But if my opponent unsummons, and then equips Batterskull, it would need like land plus 1-drop removal spell, and I think both the cards in hands are cantrips. It's just so risky to leave that Jace on the board, though. But I think my opponent has, like, Stone Cold nothing. See if I get punished for this. Got a little aggressive there. That was a fun one. Vial was really the MVP there. Not close. I mean, To be fair, Brightling and Crusader would have done similar things that game, because the Crusader earlier on could have like walled the Batterskull, and then I could have done things differently with my Flickerwisp. So like Brightling and Crusader were of approximate value this game, I think. Alright, so Swords of Plowshares out. Probably board Cleric out. This probably isn't going to be the best Crusader matchup. It's going to be close from here. Maybe I don't play the third Brightling, and maybe I only will play one of these. Yeah. I mean, Flickerwisp is secretly one of the best cards in the deck, even though it doesn't look like it. It gets you out of a whole bunch of weird spots. That's terrible. Yeah, I generally play 4 pieces of equipment in matchups where I expect my opponent to be able to destroy equipment. And by that, I mean, like, have many answers to equipment. Alright, that's pretty bad for me. Please don't play True Name Nemesis this turn. I mean, that's annoying, but fine. So this game, I think I'm probably going to win by forming Voltron and like using Batterskull with one or both of these swords equipped. No, I only play 3 equipment versus burn. Oh, I'm not out of this one yet. I liked the part where the opponent didn't kill my Stoneforge. Yes. Always a good idea to let people untap with Stoneforge. My opponent probably has, like, Disenchant, though, so they're not going to get, like, punished for it. Oh, now you want to kill it. So I've got a few choices this turn. I can play around either Source the Plowshares or Jace Bounce, but not both. Well, I can't really play around Source the Plowshares. It's going to get it, so I guess I should play around Jace Bounce. No, I'm aware. There's lots of things that can get us here. Like, my hand was bad to start with, and my opponent got a quick Jitte. So, like, that's a bad combo. I'm going to attack. It's super bad for me if my opponent has a Batterskull. But I need to kind of get aggressive here. Yeah, okay. So I can play Sword of War and Peace this turn. Then next turn, Flickerwisp Jitte. Play Mom, Equip Mom. Then that's something that would live through just like Snapcaster attacking. Alternatively, I can just like get rid of 4 Jitte counters right now for my Flickerwisp, but that doesn't seem amazing. So I think I have to set up for a 2-turn. Oh, yeah, come back to D. I don't expect to win this game. Not at all. But, like, this at least gives me a chance. Right? Because, like, this means I have one creature that isn't just going to die to Jitte immediately. It would die to it next turn if my opponent can somehow get more Jitte counters. But, like, Mom has the potential to wall the Snapcaster with Jitte. By giving itself Pro Blue to clarify. But if my opponent does something stupid like Jace Bounce, I'm in trouble. That doesn't make any sense, but okay. You can just vote for the sword, put this on one of your creatures, attack in, use one Jitte counter to kill Mom. But I will 100% accept my opponent being bad. Well, I cannot die for another turn. So for anyone curious, I have to take this line, even though it's very bad, so that my opponent just doesn't get to, like, go, like, Snapcaster Pump Pump, kill me. So now I'll take 3, and I'll... that's not going to do it. Alright. Game 2, lost to early Jitte. Alright, do I want to change anything while on the play? On the play, this is a little better. I don't think I want to change anything. Jazzy Manrique's really good against, like, D&T and Stoneblade, and kind of mediocre everywhere else. So it's really the question of, like, do you need Sword of War and Peace as another sideboard card versus Miracles, or do you need Manrique more? Like, it's really a question of, like, how much Stoneblade is there going to be in the next couple of weeks? And if the answer is, you know, like, 10% of the metagame or something like that, then it's probably time to play Manrique. But I don't know. You mean Militia Burglar? That card's unplayable in this shell. All my other cards are way better. That's a card for Soldier Stompy. Rough. Oh, is it not Burglar? I 100% thought it was Burglar. Opponent was F6 through my turn. They didn't have counter magic. That's good to know. Oops, 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 oops. Should have played the Karakas first. But I don't think they would use the Swords of Plowshares until my end of turn anyway. I'm going to get Sword of Fire and Ice here, in case my opponent has a true name, and that's what they kept their hand for. Oh, deal. That, Lord Darkview. Plus, now my Prelate will actually resolve. Am I willing to lose a Thalia to a Disenchant? No. We'll play this one patiently. Put the Batterskull in, equip the Batterskull, so that if I lose something, it's just a Germ token. Opponent did not have Disenchant. Sweet. Alright. So, game 3 win with Ultron versus True Names. And we're 3-0. Alright, so we've won versus Ant, Loam, and Stoneblade so far. Had to fight for the wins, though. Hey, whatever. Even if I get paired against elves twice, I still get 2 treasure chests, or 1 treasure chest, and free entry into the next one. Everything's gravy from here. Sorry, Chad. I'm skimming over deck lists from the Legacy Challenge. I'm going to keep this. This is the sort of hand where if I get paired against the right sort of deck, this is probably unbeatable, and if I get paired against the wrong sort of deck, this hand's terrible. This is a very high upside hand. No, I'm not planning on testing goblins. I think the deck's probably pretty good. And I would do it as a donation deck list for sure. But I don't really see myself wanting to play goblins over D&T. Alright, well that's scary. How do I win? I don't think I want my opponent to play more spells. So the question is, like, do I want to play Thalia, which can be countered right now, or do I just want to Wasteland again and try to keep them from, like, brainstorming? Thalia would also keep that from happening. I'm doing this. Like, my board's pretty bad, and if my Thalia got dazed, that would be catastrophic. I need these Delvers to whiff, or I need to find, like, a Brightling, or a Flyer, or a piece of removal. Great, great, that's really good. Min, yeah, I probably would have blocked. You get nothing. Yes, Min, I would have blocked. wonder if my opponent has like Bomat Courier. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that at 2 for the moment. See if this resolves. It does. Am I the aggressor now? I don't think so. I think I'm still going to hold back Cleric to block Delver. Alright, Wasteland is a good Magic card. Alright, so D&T versus Grixis Delver, win, game 1, win, double, Wasteland, and Cleric Ambush. Alright. So I want Paths, I'll consider Rest in Peace. I want Brightling, I'll consider this duder, but probably not. So I don't want my Revokers. Those are going to come out. I don't want my Recruiters, they're probably slow. I probably don't want this on the draw. And then I don't actually know like how many Gurmag Anglers my opponent is playing. So I don't know how good this Rest in Peace actually is. I should probably bring them in. It looks like it's about 3 Gurmag Anglers in the lists. And also the potential for Grim Lavamancer. Oh, I can also consider Spirit of the Labyrinth too. Rip's probably too slow on the draw. Maybe I want that on the play, not on the draw. This is a fine hand. Got a Vial to start things off. Spell Pierce? Feels like Spell Pierce. But since I have double Swords to Plowshares now, if this hits a Spell Pierce, I don't really care. Nope. I mean, Stifle? What's going on? Well, shit. Opponent shuffled with Ponder. So, what do I want to do this turn? I kind of want to play the Crusader once I've taken out the Volcanic Island. I don't just want it to get lightning bolted away. This may be a turn that I just like play patiently and I like waste Volk, Swords to Plowshares, the Bowmat Courier, and then next turn play Crusader and have Flickerwisp to protect it. Because I think the Crusader will race the Bitter Blossom. Like, I haven't done the math, but I suspect that is going to be the case. A couple updates back, they changed the back online. Oh, shoot. It's fine. Let's play patiently. They don't know about anything in my hand. Right. I was playing around days. But I've kind of really confirmed that they don't have days at this point. So now I can flash back and get my path. Sacking the Summoning Sick Fairy Rogue. Cabal Therapy Bitter Blossom's pretty cute. I'm confused. If I were my opponent, I would have 100% sacked this Fairy Rogue to Cabal Therapy and taken the path. Huh. I do not understand. No, they shuffled with the Ponder, so they don't know anything about the top of the library. If my opponent had red mana, I would hold that Flickerwisp to protect Crusader, but since they don't have red mana, denying them a Fairy Rogue and making my Flickerwisp actually able to potentially get in there for some damage can be pretty important. What about Spell Pierce? If my opponent has Spell Pierce and this gets sort of, that doesn't really matter all that much. I'm going to go ahead and do this Swords on my turn, though, just play around Spell Pierce since I'm Resource Light. Ooh. That's useful. Sure. Oh, please don't have Bolt. Technically not Bolt. Alright, so now I need something like a Crusader, a Brightling, a Stoneforge. That'll work. So let's see, how do I want to do this? I can get Jitte, and then for like every attack that I make in, I get rid of 2 Fairy Rogues. Or I can just like get Batterskull, and that would just like make my opponent's own Bitter Blossom kill them over the next few turns. Opponent has no cards, knows nothing about the top of their deck, but has Cabal Therapy. Okay, so whatever I get is just going to get Cabal Therapied away. So I want the one that would be worst if I drew it in my hand, and that would be Batterskull. Banking on opponent not remembering that they have Cabal Therapy, Bitter Blossom combo. That's fair. Opponent has definitely made some critical errors, that's for sure. Alright, that means they have to remember therapy, right? That's what that means. Alright, they remembered. Lol. So I think I just put in the Brightling now in case my opponent is like playing Stifle or something stupid. Master Herc, the donation details are below. Basically, you donate to me on PayPal and you leave me a note saying what you want me to play. You can either send me a deck list or you can send me an archetype and then I will make the deck list myself. And no, it does not have to be a D&T variant. I'm pretty open to playing anything. I have two stipulations. One, it has to be something that would be enjoyable to viewers. Two, it can't be something that takes obnoxiously long to combo off. You know, like, I wouldn't play eggs, for example, on stream. That's not fun for anyone. Static Ripped, it is $12. I would 100% take a donation for modern D&T. Like, I'm not a modern player, but, like, I would play some modern D&T. I have in the past. I wouldn't play it well. Well, I would play it as well as I could with the information that I have, but I don't necessarily have as much information as I got. I would play Miracles Min. I owned Miracles on paper for a very long time. I played it at a lot of local events. I'm not exactly the fastest Miracles player, the best Miracles player, but I at least know the basics. Yeah, I would play Red White Painter. There have been a handful of lists showing up actually. It's been pretty good. I mean, I'm really hoping that someone donates so that I can play that Arena Rector Nick Fit deck again on stream. So for anyone who wasn't around for that, that was one of the most fun deck lists I've played in a while. Where is it? This deck list was disgusting. There's the main deck. But like I got to Cabal Therapy someone like 5 times on turn 2. I think I went like turn 1 Therapy, turn 2 Veteran Explorer, sack for black, ThrabenU. I think it was like ThrabenU, flashback, Veteran Explorer, play second Explorer, ThrabenU with flashback a second time, get 2 more lands, and then like do some other thing. It was insane. I played this Arena Rector deck. I have not played like a 6 Rector deck yet. I also played the Sneak Attack build. I didn't really like that. I felt it was clunky. But, yeah, I had a lot of fun with Nick Fit. That was... With that Nick Fit deck, I did some of the most disgusting things I've ever done in Magic, period. Like, when that Nick Fit deck works, like, my god. On that stream, I also beat Lily Last Hope Ultimate by just 0 Uganing like every other turn to keep all the zombies in check. And then I think I got like an Elspeth Sun Champion out, and I just started making 3 tokens a turn. It was gross. So the Rector targets for it were Ugin, Elspeth Sun's Champion, Small Gideon, Lily Last Hope, I think. I'll leave you to view that for a moment. I'm gonna run to the restroom before the last round in case it goes long. Yeah, Gamer Champ. This deck list was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I would change is that I'd take out this Helm of Obedience for some other sideboard card. And if this were a paper event, there's some new like Archon card that is just an upgrade over Sigarda, but I don't remember what it's called. The Secret Tech deck list is my Legacy Premier League deck list. It's a little bit different from anything else that I put on stream, so I don't exactly want to reveal what that is. The cards that are there won't be anything that's too surprising, but I really don't want people to know what my sideboard cards are going to be ahead of time for the stream, because that's going to matter a lot. All right, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Hello, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today we're streaming with Mono White Death and Taxes. We're currently 4-0 going into the final round. I'm currently competing in the Legacy Premier League as well, so make sure you tune in on Wednesday in order to see that. If you want all the details for that, check out Julian's stream or his website. This will be my last round today, but I hope you all have enjoyed. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, please follow. I'm trying to get my viewership numbers up just a little bit more so that I can make Twitch partner. Hoping to do that this month. And if you're really liking what I'm doing, please consider subscribing or doing a donation deck list so you can see some cool stuff on stream. This was a donation deck list as well. This was Brent M's donation deck list. He wanted me to play some Brightling D&T, and I obliged. I am not playing this week. My matches will be next week on August 1st. Yes, I do know who's in the group this week. And by no, I mean I can check the Facebook group we're in and tell you. All right, week 2 is, oh man, this week is awesome. So it's Wilson Hunter, Michael Bonda, or Bond, I need to ask him how it's pronounced, Caleb D, and Javier Dominguez. Yeah, it's a strong crew. All right, Master Herc, thank you. I'll take a look at that later. All right, so we're probably playing against Miracles, although my opponent has played other things. We're going to keep this hand. It has an Aether Vial, which is the best possible thing that I could be looking for in this matchup. Yeah, our opponent is a beast. This is going to be fun. It's probably going to take a while. We've had a lot of real grindy matches today. Alright, force, pitch, and counterspell. Opponent knows the value of Aether Vial. It's not hitting the table. Master Herc, what time is better for you? I'm in Eastern time. Is mornings like this good? Because we can arrange a time where you can catch it live pretty easily. Alright, that's something I didn't really want to have happen, but it's happening. I considered playing out the Jitte for just that reason, but, like, the Stoneforge cantrips, so it's not that big of a deal. Alright, Master Herc, I'll shoot for doing that deck list sometime this week in the morning, then. Am I willing to run the Revoker out this early? Or do I want to save it and just play Jitte? I need pressure. Doing that now rather than trying to ambush the Revoker with an attack is interesting. So my opponent's turn 4 and they need to hit a land drop. Ooh, missed a land drop. Okay. That is good news for me. Yep. So many cantrips. Sweet, a land I can Wasteland. I'm going to leave this at 2 until I have a reason to put it at 3. Man, when I get a creature. And I am willing to wait a turn to put that in off of Vial, rather than hard cast it here. I'm going to start porting off of double blue now for Jace and Counterspell. Double white isn't particularly relevant at the moment. Bad news for Jace lovers. Oh no, my Vial's not at 3. Not bad news for Jace lovers. It will be bad news for Jace lovers next turn. Cool. So I can play Thalia. I can equip Sword so Thalia can't get bounced. And I could like maybe make my opponent focus on this and then get them with the Crusader. I think this means they have another Swords to Plowshares, unfortunately. Otherwise, I think they would have just like waited until my turn. But maybe my opponent's afraid of Karakas. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm going to hold that land. Now I'll port off of Council's Judgment for my Vial, because that's one of the ways I get back into this. But my opponent has a lot of cards and a Jace, and a non-irrelevant clock in play in terms of Snapcaster Mage. I would not go so far as to say the game is locked. My opponent is heavily favored, though. My opponent knows what they're doing. My opponent really knows what they're doing. There are a number of changes to the list versus what I've been playing. Ugh. Yeah, like Brightling's an insane draw, Recruiter's an insane draw. Even something like a Prelate's pretty good. A Revoker is acceptable. My opponent's been pretty aggressive with Snapcaster Mages. So I don't need to worry about that too much. Please don't be a Mentor. Shit. Alright, this is probably about the turn where everything goes to shit. So I expect to die next turn. I'm kind of just curious about what all happens. Let's see if my opponent shows me any other cards that are important to know about. I also might just die this turn. Yeah, Swords of Plowshares, one of his own monks. So it's 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 3 more spells will kill me. And I only drew 3 creatures this game. It's kind of unfortunate. Okay. We can call it there. Alright. So we're playing against Miracles, and we lost. So game 1, Flood, and lose to Jace. Okay, alright, two were Terminus. That's fair. I think I had like a Thalia and a Stoneforge initially that got Terminus. Alright, so these are the cards I'm thinking about. I don't really want Swords to Plowshares. I try to be aggressive in this matchup. I'll probably go Jitte out since I bring the Sword of War and Peace in. And I'll probably board my Crusaders out. They're great at holding equipment, and they're a quick clock on their own, but they don't do anything disruptive. And most of my other cards at least have the possibility of doing something disruptive. And that's what I care about more here. And then I need to cut one more card. I'll probably just trim a Mom. Like, Mom's not great against Terminus and Supreme Verdict and EE. Like, on the draw, I might even consider just, like, trimming more Moms and just keeping more gas in the deck. This is a very slow hand, but it can very possibly be a get-you hand. Lord Darkview, like, think for yourself. Don't take everything I say as just like an absolute unquestionable thing. I was trying to generalize. Since I'm threat light, I definitely want to play my Spirit of the Labyrinth off the vial rather than just put it in. Ooh, am I willing to just play Recruiter here, or do I want to cast Recruiter? I kind of want to cast Recruiter. Force Pitch Brainstorm. No, that's not a weird force. That makes a lot of sense. Since I'm 100% ticking the vial up this turn, this is my chance to put this in. That's fine. I don't really care about that. Eli, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate your continued support. I think you've subbed before, but maybe just missed a little bit. So this is sort of an awkward turn where I can play out the Spirit, but if I do so, then I'm not porting. I think that's fine. I jammed the Recruiter for curving out purposes. If the Recruiter resolves, then I get to do like super disgusting things with my vial more immediately and have more options available to me. I would accept this trade. Swords of Plowshares, the Spirit. Okay. Oh, please just jam a Mentor. Yes. This is gross. So I think I just want to Flickerwisp the Mentor this turn and permanently exile it. If I attack in, there's some weird world where my opponent, like, does blocks in a way which mess me up. Like, I can, if I attack in with both, maybe my opponent doesn't block at all. Now they probably just take this. I don't want to use Brightling's abilities at all here. Whew. No, I 100% want to leave up my mana. My opponent recognized that that was something that could happen, and they said, "Yeah, I know. I had to risk it though." On the draw, I'm considering boarding out some more Mother of Runes to just play more cards that are better standalone threats. At the same time, like Mom plus Prelate or Mom plus Spirit can be really backbreaking, so maybe I don't. This is a pretty medium hand. I think like my son's Stoneforge Mystic is going to get answered, and then I'm just going to do nothing for too many turns. I'm going to mulligan this one and try to find a Vial. Well, that's not a Vial, but that's better. Do I want the second land? I'm going to scry it to the bottom. The game will go long enough that I'll probably find another. I mean, like, even if my opponent draws Terminus there and they Terminus, I still just, like, bounce Brightling, then I have Brightling Vial for the rest of the game, and that shit is obnoxious. I had Karakas up, but I would bounce Brightling over Thalia, 100%. I'm gonna get Sword of War and Peace. I expect to get Terminus this turn. Relatively speaking, this is a long pause from my opponent. It must be difficult to evaluate what's underneath the Ponder. Yeah, see the pause there was because this was a polluted delta, and that means they have to fetch Tundra in order to get rid of this, meaning I can Wasteland that white source. That's a great draw. I don't really want to Wasteland my opponent. Like, I like everything that I've got going on here. I think I need to. The risky play is play Flickerwisp, Flicker Wasteland, Wasteland this, but if my opponent has actual counterspell, that's terrible. So I'm just going to lead on Mom this turn. And 100% get Wasteland. Because if my opponent had, like, counterspell into Jace, it would be devastating for me. Ooh, right on time. We are in Game 3 versus Miracles, playing against a very good pilot. So JD, this will be my last match though. I have to get lunch. It's getting pretty late here. This stream has gone on longer than usual. We've played a lot of very grindy matches, like Miracles, Loam. Even the Amp matchup took way longer than usual. What was today? Loam, Stoneblade, Grixis Delver, Miracles. I'm 4-0. So my opponent doesn't have actual counterspell up right now. I'd kind of like to just jam the Brightling right here. This gives me some insurance from just, like, something like tap out Jace next turn. Predict, target me. Would you like to name plains or snow-covered plains? Holy shit! Oh, portent, okay. I didn't realize that that had targeted me. Differences between Moto and real life. That was not the blind portent hit that I thought it was. Yeah, it's really hard to tell who portent is targeting if you're looking back and forth between screens to like interact with the chat. Like the only way you can see that is like the little red X here or by checking the chat log. Alright, so either one of these cards with Sword of War and Peace equipped should be lethal next turn. Oh, it is 100% scary for both sides. I have no idea where this is going to end up going. Alright, so now my opponent is going to get a turn of chump blocking with Snapcaster Mage. So I kind of like just setting up for an easy kill next turn. I can just play Sword of Fire and Ice and go equip Sword of War and Peace first, then equip Sword of Fire and Ice next turn, and then it'd be hard to wiggle out of that. Alternatively, I can just like attack with Brightling and then play like Spirit of the Labyrinth to prevent my opponent's cantrips from drawing cards. God, no, I'm not. I'm not tapping out. Are you kidding me? So playing Spirit is pretty good. I'm kind of worried about just, like, dying if I dawdle too much, though. If I equip this now, then I can't be hit by, like, Swords to Plowshares on a later turn. I can give Vigilance and attack in now, and that's probably fine. This necessitates the chump block from Snapcaster Mage. That's annoying. I'll lose a lot of tempo to that. No, I'm going to try to force my opponent into a situation where they have to Terminus the board. No, I don't want to cast Flickerwisp here. Because if one of my threats gets answered, I still have a second. Now we'll just see if I die or not. No blocks. So I can go for Sword of Fire and Ice Equip. I swing in, my opponent will probably just cast something and chump block. That's not great. I can cast Flickerwisp and then really do nothing with it. I can cast Brightling, holding up 2 mana, so I could give some degree of lifelink. Alright, so if my opponent has 3 lands in hand, what is the best play? If I equip Sword and my opponent has actual nothing, then my opponent has to chump or they die. Otherwise, I can play Brightling and gain some life, but probably not enough to like live through this mess. So let's go all in here. I will be dead to any spell, I think, right? Because I blocked this. That's 8, 9, 10. That's crippling. Well, we're taking that Mentor out on the way out the door. If I was gonna miss a 5-0, that's a good way to miss a 5-0. That was a great round of Magic there. Alright, so loss. So game 3, loss to Mentor. It's unfortunate. That's the first time I lost to Miracles after getting a Brightling into play. But it happens. My opponent was very, very, very good. Okay, so let's talk about the deck list and kind of do an end-of-stream recap here. So I tried some O-Rings over Council's Judgment, and like against the handful of matches that I saw, I definitely wanted it to be Council's Judgment. Hedging against Sneak and Show may not be something that I want to do if Stoneblade's going to be more prevalent. So I should probably just cut these. And go for Council's Judgment. But otherwise, I like a lot of what I've got going on here. Like, I felt pretty good about the main deck configuration and the changes that I made. Didn't feel like I was really missing anything in particular in the sideboard. Had decent in-out numbers for everything. Maybe would have been slightly better with Council's Judgment over Oblivion Ring. But I'm still more or less fine with the way everything shook out. I mean, D&T is feeling very, very good. I mean, just to throw some numbers on it. Been kind of floating between 65 and 68% win percentage recently, which is a lot higher than what I was at previously with all the K commands running around. No, I lost the match to Mentor. I don't feel bad about the loss. Opponent was great and played great. But I'm pretty happy with how things are going right now for D&T, more generally speaking. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you all for watching today. My name is Phil Gallagher, and I run Thraben University. If you enjoy this content, please follow. I'm getting real close to a Soldier Stompy stream. In fact, this stream here probably put it over that, and I owe you a Soldier Stompy stream now. And please watch the Legacy Premier League on Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're really enjoying what I'm doing, consider doing a donation deck list or doing something else like subscribing to support me and what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to Lewis CBR, who is probably streaming Delver.